Time, the Amazon, the world's densest and most mysterious jungle. Everywhere, deep green grass, towering trees touching the sky. Time. And a silence so heavy it could pierce into a man's soul. 5 people ventured into its depths. Dr. Farhan, a renowned researcher working on jungle herbs and medicinal plants. Time. Ayesha, journalist documenting the expedition. Bilal, the cameraman capturing every moment. Samir, Farhan's friend and assistant researcher. Diego, the local guide. Time, a native who knew the jungle's darkest secrets. Their mission to find a rare plant hidden deep within the forest, believed to help in curing cancer. But before departure, Time, Diego gave them one warning: the Amazon is not just home to animals. There are things here unseen by human eyes. If you follow their voices, you will never return. The others laughed, dismissing it as superstition. But Ayesha felt a shadow of fear settle in her heart. The first night the day's journey was easy. Rivers, parrots, fishes, insects as big as fists, life everywhere. But as the sun began to sink, the jungle's colours changed. A campsite was set, fire lit. Lotta echoed, Nembil, mic in hand. The Amazon night is so beautiful and so silent. And then they heard a sound, like a woman crying in the distance. And everyone froze. Years time, Samir whispered, "You hear that?" Diego immediately stoked the fire higher and said sharply, "Do not respond to any voice. That is the spirit of the jungle. Whoever answers never returns." Ayesha's hands went cold. She quietly switched off her recorder. The first disappearance at 2 a.m. Ayesha woke up. Years time. She heard Samir's voice calling Ayesha, "Come here." She unzipped the tent and saw him standing a few feet away. But his eyes were completely black. Before she could scream, Diego pulled her back inside. By morning, Samir was gone. His bag, his voice vanished. Only barefoot tracks remained in the mud. Time, leading toward the temple ruins they had seen earlier. The jungle grew darker. Even daylight felt like night under the suffocating trees. Diego said softly, "No, he was taken." Time, the jinn wore his face to trick you. That is how they hunt. Farhan, ever the scientist, refused to believe without proof. Time. But Ayesha couldn't forget the black eyes staring at her in the dark. The ruins inside the ruins, they found a stone tome carved with strange symbols, Arabic and cryptic markings. Time, Farhan murmured, "These look like ancient magical inscriptions." Bile laughed, perfect for the documentary. He switched on the camera and began reading the words aloud. Time, Diego's face turned pale.
"Fool, you've summoned them."
Everyone laughed nervously. But that night, the jungle refused to let them laugh again. The haunting strange sounds. Samir's voice calling, a woman's laughter echoing among the trees. Shadowy figures dancing in the dark. Inside the tent, Diego recited verses from the Quran. The whispers faded. Time, but then, with a violent gust, the tent ropes snapped. The fire died. Above them, something hung upside down from a tree. Half human, half shadow. Eyes glowing red, it whispered, "Time, you've awoken our words. Now your souls belong to us." The second disappearance before dawn, Bilal vanished. Only his camera remained. The last recording showed his terrified face. Time, behind him for a brief second, Samir's face appeared, smiling, whispering, "You're not alone. I'm here." Ayesha broke down. Even Farhan's scientific logic began to crumble. Time, Diego warned, "Leave now, or none of you will survive." But the jungle had already trapped them. The paths twisted, bringing them back to the same cursed temple again and again. The gathering of spirits that night, the air filled with a strange fragrance, like incense and perfume. Shadows gathered between the trees, dozens of faceless forms, tiny eyes glowing red, and among them, Samir. But his face was no longer human. He grinned at Farhan. "You're a scientist, aren't you? You want proof. Here's your proof." From behind him stepped Bilal, his neck twisted unnaturally, his voice echoing like two people speaking at once. Farhan screamed, "What do you want from us?" A deep, tiny, ancient voice replied from the shadows, "We want your souls. You awaken our words. Now you will be our sacrifice." The third disappearance by dawn, Ayesha too was gone. Time, only her diary remained. Her final words, "The spirit of the jungle is calling me." Perhaps the line between human and jinn is just one step. Now only Farhan and Diego remained. Time, the king of shadows that night, by the ruins, he came. Taller than the trees, darker than the night, the king of shadows. His eyes burned like fire. His voice shook the earth. Time, "I am the ruler of this jungle. You awakened our words. Your souls are now my treasure." Diego began reciting Quranic verses. The shadows trembled, retreated. But the king laughed. Time, such weak light. Do you think these words can save you when your faith is already broken? One by one, Samir, Bilal, and Ayesha's shadow forms appeared, smiling, calling. Time, Diego, sacrifice, run, Farhan. Diego shouted, pushing him away. "If you don't survive, the world will never know what lurks in this jungle." As Farhan fled, he looked back. Time, shadows devoured Diego, tearing his soul into the darkness. The temple gate slammed shut. Farhan was alone. The last words, with trembling hands, he opened Ayesha's diary and wrote, "If you are reading this, know that the Amazon is not just a jungle of animals. The jinn live here. They wear human faces. They call you with familiar voices. Time, if you answer, you are theirs." The jungle laughed at him. Every road led back to the temple. And then he heard a voice of Farhan. It's me, Ayesha. I've come back. Time. He's crimmed on that! Ha ha! You're one of them, the jungle roared with laughter. The final secret inside the tomb. The stone coffin was now open. A parchment inside read. Time. Whoever reads these words will belong to our world. Their soul will remain forever bound to the jungle. Farhan realized. Bilal's reading had doomed them all. Time. The Shadow King appeared once more. Farhan, your soul is the strongest. You are the final sacrifice. Farhan raised the diary, his last shield, and wrote his final words. If you're reading this, I am no longer alive. Perhaps I am with the humans. Perhaps I am with the jinn. Maybe I no longer know what I have become. The diary was found. Time, but Farhan never returned. The curse lives on even today. Ruins lie hidden deep in the Amazon. Locals whisper if you enter at night, a voice will call you. Time. Sometimes it will sound like your friend, sometimes your mother, sometimes a weeping woman, and if you answer, you will never know again whether you are human or jinn.